Hello and welcome to Good Morning Transfers. After a busy end to last week, we're set for a cracker over the coming days with Aston Villa making moves in the market. Good morning to Jessica Crichton, Emma Payton, Kyle Walker and of course to you at home. Coming up after a shock defeat in the FA Cup, Eddie Howe looks to add to his defence. The latest on their pursuit of Sven Botman coming up. Plus, Antonio Conte has plenty to think about at Tottenham as club record signing Tongi Ndombele is booed off during yesterday's FA Cup tie. Is his time at the club up? And welcome to those of you watching on the Sky Sports News YouTube channel. We'll also be joined by musician Governor B, whose song that first aired here on Good Morning Transfers last week went to #1 on the iTunes chart over the weekend. It's an incredible story and for a wonderful cause. We'll be speaking to him shortly. But Aston Villa fans, we're going to start with you. Hashtag transfer talk. Get in touch. It's been quite a good few days for them. Philippe Coutinho's joined the club on loan. It looks like they've beaten several Premier League clubs to the signing of a new left-back. Emma, that left-back is?
Dum, dum, dum. Want to guess? Anyone want to guess?
You go for it.
Shall I go for it? Shall I steal the stage? What a time to be alive, by the way, if you're a Villa fan at the moment. Signing Philippe Coutinho at the end of last week. We're in a new week, and they're making more moves already. We heard the news from our reporter last night, Rob Dorset, that it looks like they have beaten the likes of Chelsea, West Ham and Newcastle to the signing of Luca Dean. Didn't see that coming, did you guys? And they are in advanced negotiations now for the Everton left-back. So it's moving quite quickly. Look, we know there's been this public falling out with Luca Dean and Rafa Benitez. Hasn't played a single minute for Everton since the 1st of December. That was that 4-1 Merseyside derby defeat. And then there was that incredible press conference, wasn't there, on Friday, where Rafa Benitez, who can be quite guarded in news conferences, but wow, didn't pull any punches, did he, in that press conference? And he said about Luca Dean, doesn't want to be here. He had that whole sort of, what would Peter Reid do moment in that as well. So I think it's safe to say, look, his time at Merseyside is coming to an end. We know that Chelsea were interested in the player. It looks like they're not pursuing that initial interest. Of course, Ben Chilwell's out injured at the moment. And we've been told that Dean prefers a move to the Midlands. The price likely to be between 20 and 25 mil. The two clubs not yet agreed a fee at the moment. And you look at Villa as well. I mean, this would be a decent signing for them. They've got Matt Targett in that position, of course, at the moment. So acting as competition, and pretty good competition, you'd have to say as well. And it's interesting because there were a number of players linked to Villa in this left-back position. There was Nicolas Tagliafico, there was Aaron Hickey as well. But you look at Dean, you say he's got Premier League experience, he can slot right in, you know, he can hit the ground running. And 20 to 25 mil, it's a pretty decent price, really. So Villa, what a time for them at the moment. Yeah, they've got the pull of Steven Gerrard. You also think a player like Coutinho joining, if you're another player, you're looking at that saying this is a pretty attractive proposition at the moment, and a club that are clearly moving forward. They've got plans, they're building something good here. And what I like about it is they're getting their business done. There's no drama here. The owners are clearly backing Steven Gerrard, and they're ambitious.
Ambitious, I think, is the key word, and I think that Aston Villa fans, over the years, we know how successful they've been as a club, we know how big they are as a club, and Aston Villa fans, they want to hit those heights, especially in the Premier League. So this season, the target is probably to get that top 8 finish, but Aston Villa must be looking at clubs like West Ham, clubs like Leicester over the years as well. They want European football once again. They want to be up there, they want to be challenging, they want silverware as well. It's signings like this, the experience, it's spending the money well, it shows that they have ambition, this club. And actually, when they're spending this money, when they're going out there, they're not just wasting it, they're identifying players. Steven Gerrard is pulling in players as well that can hit the levels that Aston Villa fans want, that if you look at the team, that they should be hitting as well.
Yeah, and you say Steven Gerrard there, Aston Lions been in touch, hashtag transfer talk says Stevie G is going to pull in huge players, and those players are going to start to take us serious again. Credit to our owners, and James says if this transfer goes through, that's Luca Dean, it's a great signing, great quality, someone who suits Gerrard's system and our style of play up the Villa. This is the thing with Luca Dean. It's no surprise, is it, Jess, that so many clubs were in for him, because he's actually been brilliant at Everton. It's a bit of a surprise that they're letting him go.
Yeah, I'm surprised at Rafa Benitez. I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, but clearly he's out of favour, and Benitez perhaps is willing to let that player go. But I think it's this combination at Villa at the moment with a club hierarchy that are willing to spend money. Also, Steven Gerrard, who has this pulling power. He's a serial winner. He's turned himself into a very decent manager in a pretty short space of time. That is a winning combination for the fans. They are expectant. They want more. They want to reach the heights. And I think when you've got the board and the manager singing from the same hymn sheet and bringing in big names, I mean, Philippe Coutinho to Aston Villa, just absolutely incredible. Fans are so excited by this, and I can understand why.
And it could, though, get even better. Who else are they after, Kyle?
Well, Aston Villa, they're understood to be interested in Brighton midfielder Yves Bissouma. Now, he enters the final 18 months of his deal that he currently has. He's featured 14 times for Brighton this season. I will add this in, though. Brighton boss Graham Potter says that he's had no contact from another club regarding Bissouma. However, Dharmesh Sheth, he was speaking about this one, and he says that he is a very sought-after player, and he thinks that Bissouma will be one to keep an eye on for the rest of the window. So let's see what happens. 21 days to go. I think that, again, we're talking about excitement, we're talking about projects, we're talking about clubs that want to go on. Strengthening that strength in depth for Aston Villa, I think, is super important, and I think Bissouma, it's one of those players that you can identify that actually he could be a great signing for them, and over the next few years, he could bring so much to the club.
Would that be a bigger coup than Coutinho, Yves Bissouma, considering we know he's one of the standout midfield? Well, you know what you're getting, don't you? Whereas Philippe Coutinho, we're unsure at the moment of what kind of player he's going to turn up to Villa. Where you look at Yves Bissouma, you know he's one of the standout midfielders in the league.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I'm a huge fan of Yves Bissouma, actually, and you're right, with Coutinho not being in the Premier League for quite a long time, hasn't played as much as he would have liked to in recent years. Bissouma, I suppose, would be certainly a safer signing in that regard, but imagine if they get all three of them, Dean, Coutinho and Bissouma. Gerald here says Coutinho and now Dean at Aston Villa mean business. Ad says really pleased with Coutinho. Dean would be great, though centre-half could do with strengthening. With losing Axel Tuanzebe to Napoli, we're a bit short, ? Great times. Well, we'll get to a centre-back in a moment, but just in terms of how exciting it must be for an Aston Villa fan at the moment, Jess, I mean, these tweets are proving it.
They really are. Every Aston Villa fan I speak to just seems to become
buzzing,
overcome with emotion. We've got an Aston Villa fan in our team, haven't we?
Big up,
Josh. Yeah. Tears of joy in his eyes when Coutinho was announced and made official. And I get it. It's ambitious. It's exciting. Signing Philippe Coutinho, one of the biggest transfers in Aston Villa's history, if not the biggest. He is the third most expensive player ever known when he transferred to Barcelona. And you have to remember that Aston Villa, back in 2016, were actually relegated from the Premier League. This time 5 years ago, they were mid-table in the Championship. This time 5 years ago, they had players like Ross McCormack who couldn't make it into training because the gates of his front house wouldn't open. And so he wasn't able to make it to the training ground. Who knows? Steve Bruce is still trying to find out. So, you know, you compare that to today and the team that they're building, the manager that they've got, the serial winner in Steven Gerrard, a hierarchy willing to spend money. They've got ambition, they've got direction. And Aston Villa fans are absolutely lapping it up. They're revelling in it. And who wouldn't?
And it does, Emma, that tweet I read out about the centre-back, it makes sense with Tuanzebe going. What do you think?
Obviously, Tuanzebe was on loan at Villa. Looked like he could return to Manchester United, but he has gone to Napoli for the rest of the season. So you kind of look at that and think Gerrard would probably want to find a replacement. Of course, they've got Tyrone Mings and Ezri Konsa as that centre-back pairing. They've got Courtney Hawes as well. He's actually been linked with a move away too. So, like you say, I think a centre-back would probably make sense for Villa in this window as well.
Well, Villa fans are very happy. Newcastle fans have been happy so far this month as well. Let's talk about Newcastle. So fans, get in touch. #transfer talk. It was a bad defeat in the FA Cup at the weekend at home to Cambridge United, but developments off it regarding a potential new signing. It's a player that they've been linked with for quite some time. Right, Jess, I asked you this exact question at this exact time last week. What's the latest with Sven Botman?
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about Botman, haven't we, on Good Morning Transfers, and it seems as though he is still Newcastle's first-choice centre-back. They've stepped up their pursuit, basically, of this centre-back. They've submitted a second offer, we believe to be £29.3 million. That was submitted on Friday. There's still no answer from Lille, though, and it's thought that they probably value Botman a little bit higher than what Newcastle offered initially. So, you know, you can understand why. Lille are competing in the Champions League. They've got a big tie coming up against the reigning champions Chelsea next month. They think highly of Botman. They want him in the side. But if reports are to be believed and they have a few financial issues, perhaps they might be willing to let Botman go. So we understand that Lille wants a fee worth around £35 million if Botman has any opportunity to leave the club. But as it stands, second bid for Newcastle hasn't been responded to by Lille.
OK, so we know that they want Botman. That means they want a centre-back. What else are they looking for, Kyle?
Well, Keith Downey said last week that they'd been linked with 127 players.
Wow.
And it felt like at the time, he could have been joking a little bit there. He could have plucked that number out of thin air, but no, after this weekend, I think it's probably increased. Let's go through some of the names that have been linked with Newcastle right now. Well,
Yeah,
we're going to go through them all. Boubacar Kamara, Issa Diop, Todd Cantwell, of course, is Sven Botman from Lille as well. Lloyd Kelly. They're reportedly monitoring Anthony Martial's situation. Liverpool's Divock Origi.
These are all reported amongst various media outlets.
Exactly, yes. And Bournemouth Dominic Solanke, Sevilla defender Diego Carlos, Aaron Ramsey. All of these names are coming up. So it feels like a lot of clubs are trying to show interest that they have players that Newcastle could possibly bring in just there. I could go on, but I'm not going to do all 127 or more. I keep on saying this, but experience is key. Their main aim for this season is to stay up no matter what. They obviously brought in Kieran Trippier. He has got that experience. We've seen what he's done over the last few years, but he's got that Premier League experience as well. I think for Newcastle, they have to bring in those players that know what they are doing. Yes, the fans want the marquee signings. They want the big statement signings as well. But what does that matter if they're playing Championship football next season? I love the Championship, don't get me wrong. I think it's one of the most exciting leagues in England. But Newcastle fans will definitely want to be playing Premier League football no matter what. It's a huge club, yes, so they need to bring in some players that have got that experience that can keep them up. And I'm sure out of the 127, 200 players, there's a bit of experience in there, definitely.
There's been about that many tweets in the last few minutes as well. The prostitute of Newcastle fan says, I'm pleased the new owners saw the defeat to Cambridge. They can see how urgent we need some new blood in the team. And Sean says Newcastle losing at the weekend could be a blessing in disguise. Huge second half of the season coming up. If recruitment goes well, we will stay up, in my opinion. Right, on the way on Good Morning Transfers, we'll bring you the story that has hit the headlines for all the right reasons. After making its debut here on Sky Sports News, we're with the man whose song has well and truly gone.
I don't want to hear about KDB. It's not that time.
Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. We're going to break away from transfers, though, for a second, for a fantastic story that went viral over the weekend. It all started here on Good Morning Transfers on Sky Sports News with this man here, Governor B. Good morning to you, Governor B. After his song, Massive, went to #1 on the iTunes chart. Now, if you're not familiar with the story, Kyle, just talk us through what happened over the last few weeks.
Well, let's go back before Christmas, where Governor B, I reached out to you. I said, I want to do something. We want to talk about West Ham. And you were buzzing. I know that on Twitter you're very vocal. We've worked together before. And you started sending me some voice notes of some potential bars, let's say, some rap lyrics that you were thinking of putting together. And at that moment, I knew we had something special right there. Fast forward then to last Wednesday. And then I was...
that's Louis Walsh.
Last Wednesday, I was at your studio, and I wanted to get involved in the freestyle. He said, "No, Kyle, I've got this. All right, we don't need you to get involved." You performed for us, and it was just incredible. The lyrics were, of course, amazing, as I knew. I knew I had something special just there. But then the response on social media, everything within moments of coming off, we just knew that something special had happened with the coming together of you being amazing at what you do, but also how well West Ham have been this season and how great the West Ham fans are. Anyway, so it felt like everything came together, and this amazing moment that's brought us here right now with the song Massive just there, I mean, it felt like a very special week.
Especially the cause that it's for as well. But just for those who haven't heard it yet, just remind the viewers of the song.
So, I don't want to hear about KDB, it's not that time. Best midfielder playing in the Prem, that's Declan Rice. Top captain and we're massive, that's the word on the roads. But we need that strength in depth, Lingard got to come back home. Flying high in the table, Mark Noble putting in work. Cause we've been in Europe flexing, guess what, I can't see Spurs. Antonio real top striker, celebrations flowing. Europa League on the way, on fire that Bowen. Got the speed from Fredericks, Lanzini goes, majestic. Ben Johnson can't test him, Pablo might teach you a lesson. Yeah. Ben Rama, he's got the skills and the source cards. Beat City in a cup on pens, game was a corker. And they couldn't stop us, not even a real car walker.
No, we had to get that in there at the end as well. That little lyric, that was the one where I knew we had something special when he put that one in. Talk us, though, about what happened next after that. I hinted at the reaction from everyone, but for you, when you were on your phone, when you opened it up, that had just gone out live. Yeah. What happened next after?
Well, I logged on to Twitter, as you do. Normally I've got fans from other clubs giving me grief for what I've said on Good Morning Transfers, but a West Ham fan had uploaded the video, and in about 20 minutes it had over 1,000 retweets, loads of people asking me to release the song. Now, obviously, we started it as a bit of a joke. I've got a pretty average rap career at the moment, so I thought people are actually asking me to release music. Let's do it, and I'm not sure if you guys...
Yeah, it's really not.
That's not average at all.
But a few weeks ago, you know, a 7-year-old girl, Isla Caton, went on the pitch at West Ham with Mark Noble, and she's battling neuroblastoma, a rare form of cancer. And I thought, you know what, if we release this song and it can do a bit of good, it would be amazing. So we put it out there literally 48 hours after, and it just shot up the charts. All proceeds go to Isla. Been in touch with her family, they're shocked and stunned and grateful, and it's amazing to see so many fans come together and, you know, football being used to do something really great and powerful, and it all started as a joke, which is crazy.
We're going to hear from Isla's family actually in a moment, because it is very, very important to drum home exactly what any proceeds will do and how it can help. But I was just looking at the Sky Sports Instagram page, so almost 800,000 views. When you do it, that will probably be going up and up and up. It did go to #1 over the weekend as well. I think it's still #1 in the rap charts anyway.
Yeah,
on iTunes.
#1 in the rap charts. Yeah.
Even when you put your phone on and saw all these retweets and everything like that, do you think it could go this big? And we think that after this and more happening at the weekend, it's actually going to go bigger and bigger.
Not in my wildest dreams did I think it would get to this, you know. We're just having a laugh about football. I have a slide dig in there about Spurs, for example, but it's just beautiful that it's going towards something beautiful, man, and creating awareness for someone so special.
I love how you actually asked his permission to keep his name in. I did. He was like, say it twice.
Listen, I didn't want to get sued by him, but he was buzzing.
I'm waiting for the remix. I can jump on it as well. Now, it's not just been all the supporters that have got in touch and have been amazing in their reaction to this. The club have as well. Now, let's take a look at this, because yesterday at the game, obviously FA Cup action, you were there, and there was a video that went out of the song being played actually at the stadium, which we can see right now. Now, that must have been such an amazing feeling. You must be very grateful to West Ham and the supporters to keep on pushing it to help you with this.
Yeah, of course. It's for a great cause, and the club have got behind it. And it's one of the things I love about being a West Ham fan. You know, this song wasn't in conjunction with them, but I've done a bit of work with them before. And the stuff I love is, you know, going into schools with the West Ham Foundation, and we've had debates and panels on equality and stuff like that, and I'm grateful that, you know, football clubs are being part of the change we want to see in local communities. We saw it as well with Arsenal with the No More Red campaign, and, you know, it's not just about kicking the ball around the pitch. We all love that, but it can make so much more of a difference, you know.
It definitely can make a difference, and we've actually been in touch with Isla and her family, and they sent us in these videos.
Thank you. Now I can say good luck.
Good on.
Good luck. Good luck.
And can you say thank you to the governor?
Thank you for the customer.
Not the customer. Say thanks, Isaac.
Fine. Thanks, Isaac.
Love your song.
Love your song.
And say up the Hammers.
Up the Hammers.
Hi, I'm Isla Caton's mum. I just wanted to say, firstly, how very proud we are to be associated with this amazing song about our beloved West Ham. And a massive thank you to the governor, to Isaac. Really does mean a lot. And at this really difficult time, it's been really, really lovely to see the amount of support and love from West Ham fans and football fans all over the country. It's just all over the world, actually. It's been amazing. But I just want to give you a little backstory. So Isla has just turned 7. She's been battling neuroblastoma cancer since she was just over 2. She was 2 and 3 months when she was first diagnosed, and unfortunately she's been battling non-stop. We've got a clear. She's then relapsed again, and unfortunately the fight has now really nearly reached the end. We were given the sad news in December, just before Christmas, that she probably wouldn't make Christmas. But she has, and she's still here. And she's actually quite well in herself. But obviously the days are numbered, so we're trying to do all we can to give her the best of the best. And all the love and support has just been totally amazing. And it's probably made this absolutely the worst time of our life just that little bit easier to bear. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to all the fans for the love and support for Isla, and a massive thank you to Isaac. It means so much. God bless.
God, there'll be a lot of parents hugging their children a bit tighter after that. It's so emotional hearing that. And what you're doing is an incredible amount of good for something that... I can see everybody around the place just went silent in a very busy newsroom as Isla, first of all, and then her mum started talking. What does it mean to you to know how much you are helping someone who completely appreciates it, and you are making a very difficult time in their life a little bit better?
Yeah, it means everything, you know. The last couple of years have been tough for so many people, and I think it's the human condition to want to help and to want to change that. And when I hear Isla and her mum speak, it makes me think that, you know, this isn't just a bit of fun making music or being a fan of sport, but we're making a difference. And the beautiful thing is, it's not just West Ham fans that have been getting involved. I'm getting messages from Chelsea fans and Spurs fans, maybe not Millwall fans, but most fans from rival teams saying we want to be part of this. And I think that's what's special about football. Not much unites people from different backgrounds and different teams like this.
That's the thing, because if people think, oh, it's a West Ham song, why am I going to do that? Having just seen Isla and her mum there, it's like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
All right, it doesn't matter who I support. This is doing something good. Forget the fact it's about West Ham. That was just a bit of fun. And it really gets people behind it.
Yeah.
It definitely does. So hopefully people will continue to get behind it. And as we said before, it just continues to grow and grow. Let's talk about then what's next for the song. I saw you tweeting yesterday. The question's coming in a minute. I'll put that one out there. I saw you tweeting some new lyrics about Arsenal. So is there going to be a remix? Are you going to get the West Ham squad involved in a music video? Do you need any cameos from the real Kyle Walker? I'm ready, mate. I'm ready to go whenever.
Who knows? Who knows? You know, the players have been lovely. A few of them have reached out, you know, Declan Rice and Pablo Fornals and some of the other players. But we'll see. My dream is that we sign Lingard and that's the announcement video, you know, the music video.
Wow.
But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I can see a Governor B times Declan Rice, Rice baby, massive, a bit of, you know, come on, you can get it together. There we go.
West Ham need to start a record label, mate.
David Moyes will be watching this. Yeah, I'll give Jesse a call. Give Jesse a call, see if I can get him down. Finally, then, how can people at home get involved? Where can they get the track? And also, how can they donate?
Yeah, so there's two things. If you want to support the track, all proceeds go to Isla. Just grab it wherever you grab music. That's iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. But more importantly, if you'd like to donate to Isla's campaign so she gets the best quality of life possible, just hop onto Just Giving, type in Isla Caton and you can donate there.
Yeah, Caton is C-A-T-O-N, isn't it? OK, well, Governor B, we're going to be back with you to talk West Ham later on in the hour, but what you're doing there is very, very special, and a lot of people will be inspired by that, so thank you. Ready to come on Good Morning Transfers. Next, it's our weekly EFL focus with Joby McAnuff, and we'll also have news from Tottenham. Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. Time to welcome our next guest, the man who knows all you need to know about the EFL. It's former Reading, Leyton Orient and several other clubs. The winger, Joby McAnuff. Joby, good morning to you. Let's start with the attacking talent in the Championship. Alexander Mitrovic has the most goals in the league with 22, but just behind him, you've got Ben Brereton Diaz with 20 and Dominic Solanke with 18. They will be on the radar of Premier League clubs this window, but how important is it, particularly for Blackburn and Bournemouth, to keep hold of their star strikers?
Oh, it's going to be absolutely massive for both clubs. As you say, two strikers that are performing ever so well. Dom Solanke, who seems to just keep improving, had a really good season last year. He's taken that to another level this season. I think if you're talking about individuals and importance to a football club and a team and the way they play, nobody's going to be more important than Dom Solanke. Scott Parker's been so vocal on how highly he rates him and how important he is to the team. We're talking about a player they bought for 19 million, so I think if there is interest, you're going to have to be seeing an offer at least double that. I certainly feel that Bournemouth will be trying their best to hold on to him. There are rumours with Lloyd Kelly as well, who's a centre-half, but I think Bournemouth will be in a position at the top where they're really, really determined to keep hold of both those two. I think going back to Ben Brereton Diaz, Tony Mowbray's been, again, very, very clear about what his stance is. They sold Adam Armstrong last season, or at the start of this season, for 15 million. He's saying he wants at least double to even consider selling Ben Brereton Diaz. And we know that to have a striker scoring those goals is certainly what you need if you want to get promoted. So I think it's going to take a real massive offer for anyone to come in and prize those players away from their clubs at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. Another player linked with a move to the Premier League is Nottingham Forest winger Brennan Johnson. I loved him last year when he was at Lincoln. He was very impressive. He looked good in Forest's shock win against Arsenal yesterday in the FA Cup. It appears, though, that he's been priced out of a move this month. Could this be one for the summer?
Yeah, possibly. And again, you have to back Forest to a certain extent. You know, he is a player who is going to go and play in the Premier League at some point. I've got absolutely no doubt about that. I do think it's important for his development that it is the right move. We've seen younger players maybe jump a bit too soon to bigger clubs and then not quite get the games they need to continue their development. Of course, there's going to be interest. You saw on a couple of occasions yesterday against Premier League opposition just what he's about, his pace, his ability to go past people and his desire to want to go and take people on. There's certainly qualities that will bode well for him if he does make that move. But again, Forest now under Steve Cooper going ever so well, and I think they'll be really, really keen to try and keep hold of him to help that promotion push, and then maybe in the summer revisit the situation.
Well, what about Premier League clubs who've got youngsters being linked with a move to the EFL? I've seen Folarin Balogun's name linked, Jack Clark, Amad Diallo, Liam Delap, a few more as well. Do these moves suit everybody? They get the experience of playing, and so when they come back to their respective clubs in the Premier League, they're more of the finished article. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's a situation we've seen over the years that Premier League clubs have used the EFL, and I think that's where the EFL is a fantastic platform for these players to come and develop and learn the game. Under-23 football, for me, only takes players so far. You look at Balogun as a prime example for me, who is, when you see him in the under-23s, it's too easy for him, Tom. He needs a bit more of a challenge. He needs to step out into what I would consider real football. Again, you've seen the likes of Conor Gallagher go out to Charlton, Swansea, do really well there. And there are so many examples of players that have done that. Rhian Brewster was another one who went out to Swansea, you know, when he was at Liverpool. So as you say, it's great for the players to get out and experience that real tough environment that the EFL can be. Great for the parent clubs. They're getting, of course, these players back and further enhanced and developed. So it certainly is something I think that suits everybody. And I think you could be looking later on in the window at a few more signings coming that way.
Finally, Joby, there are a number of players out of contract this summer. You've got Millwall's Jed Wallace, Blackburn's Joe Rothwell, two important players. What do? Do they hold on to them for 6 months and risk losing them for free, or try to get whatever cash they can now and maybe even try to insert a sell-on clause as well while they can get that cash, or are they so important that they've got to keep them?
Yeah, I think these are the real tricky ones, Tom. I think when you look at Ben Rothwell, who's been absolutely exceptional for Blackburn this season, a central midfielder, but one that can go past people. He gets on the ball, he makes things happen, and certainly, he's been strongly linked with Bournemouth and Rangers. And I think when players are running out their deals in the current climate and the financial effect that the pandemic's had, I think clubs are more likely to maybe cash in if players are not going to sign new contracts. Exactly the same with Jed Wallace. He's been absolutely incredible for Mill over the last few years. Fans of the EFL will know those players very, very well. And again, as a buying club, you're probably getting those players at a real reduced rate if you can come in and put the offer on the table. So I'd say at the moment, those two and players in those situations are the most likely to move, I think, in this window where money is at a bit of a shortage.
Joby, great to speak to you. Thank you.
Cheers, Tom. Cheers, guys.
Let's talk Liverpool now. We're joined by COP TV host Alex Gilday-Trott. Alex, good morning to you. Let's talk about your club then. Liverpool's summer business mainly involved new deals for the players they already have. But Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino's, their contracts are up in 18 months' time. How important is it that these two get tied down before they even target new players?
Yes, good morning all. Hope we're well. How important is it? It's massively important. I think if you ask Liverpool fans, what would you prefer, new signings or to maybe lock down our star three strikers? Obviously, Mo Salah's in that conversation as well. Only 18 months left for him. I personally would like to see us be a little bit more ambitious and try and lock all these guys down on long-term deals and also buy some players, which as a Liverpool fan, it's frustrating to see. In the last 3 transfer windows, the 9 players that we've brought in, 5 of them have been for free. Yes, we have spent money on Konate. And yes, the experts have come out and said that Liverpool's priority this year is to lock down those players. But let's buy some players as well. It's been a while.
Alex, it has been a while. You talk about buying some players. A striker who's been rumoured to be attracting a whole load of interest is Lille's Jonathan David, top scorer in Ligue 1 at the moment. What do you know about him, and do you think he'd be a good fit at Liverpool?
Yeah, listen, won Ligue 1 with Lille last season. I think he scored 12 goals in 19 games this season. So if you're comparing that to Liverpool players, he's somewhere in between Jota and Salah in terms of output. What do I know about him? I know that a few weeks ago he wore an Arsenal shirt and that got Arsenal fans riled up. There's been talks about him being linked with Barcelona, Italian clubs as well. And when all these other clubs start getting involved, I think Liverpool naturally just step back a bit and say, we're not involved in this race. We only want a player that is certain that he wants to play for Liverpool. And if you've got all these other clubs interested, it's going to be difficult for Liverpool. I mean, yes, we do need a striker. He's more of a number 9, but I could see us maybe going in for someone who can play across the front three in every position. You've seen how Klopp has moulded Jota, Salah and Mane and Firmino, to be fair, into players that can play anywhere. And that's where you look at someone like a Rafinha who has Premier League experience. And I'd be really keen to bring him in, to be honest, someone who, again, has scored, I think it's 8 goals this season in the league. And you'd have to say that I think, would be a better signing than someone who, again, is being scouted by all these clubs.
Hi, Alex. Looking at the other side of the pitch, in defence, last January you signed Ozan Kabak. It seemed like he was, used for emergency cover in the centre of defence. This year, though, you're being linked with Sevilla's Jules Koundé. Is he the type of player you need? Would you be happy with that? Good business?
Do you know what? You make a good point there about Kabak. Didn't quite work out for him. He's now at Norwich. But Koundé, I've seen him. Chelsea were heavily linked with him last year, weren't they? And I think there was this a video that went round of his petulant red card for Sevilla the other day. And I don't think something like that is going to attract Klopp necessarily. And you asked the question, do we need a defender? I think the priorities have to be in midfield and, like I said, up front. I think defensively we're sound. You look at Nat Phillips, there's been rumours of him leaving. I personally wouldn't have that. You've got Joe Gomez, who was so instrumental in the 18-19 season with Virgil van Dijk. He's maybe slipped down the pecking order. But funnily enough, I actually wouldn't prioritise any central defenders. I think we've got 5 or 6 there that can play, including Reece Williams as well. So I would say, personally, let's focus on somewhere else.
Right, Alex, great to speak to you. Thank you.
No worries at all.
It's that time of the morning where we test your knowledge of the January transfer window. You've got a few minutes, so this break, to have a guess and get involved. Cast your memory back 4 years ago. Premier League clubs spent £465 million. But which team spent more in that particular January? Was it Arsenal or Chelsea? Tweet us using the hashtag TransferTalk at Sky Sports News, and we'll bring you the answer straight after this break. Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. Did you get the answer to our quiz question before the break? We asked you in the 2018 January transfer window, when Premier League clubs spent £465 million, which club spent the most out of Arsenal or Chelsea? Right, well, the answer is Arsenal, because they brought in Konstantinos Mavropanos, Henrik Mkhitaryan in a swap deal, and of course Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Chelsea only slightly less though, £57.6 million. So Emma and Kyle got that one right. Jess's 100% record, I'm afraid, is over. Right, let's get back to Kyle now, who's back with Governor B.
Cheers, Tom. Yes, let's talk all things West Ham now. Great performance this weekend. Talking about the season so far, everyone's talking about what they could possibly do. But when it comes to the FA Cup, who impressed you yesterday, Governor B?
It's got to be Jared Bowen. He's been incredible this season, and yesterday tempo was up. He scored a goal, obviously. I've actually got beef with Sky Sports News because I keep seeing these team of the seasons pop up, and no disrespect to the Sakas and the Phil Fodens, they're obviously quite younger than Jared Bowen, but how was he not in his team of the seasons? He's been amazing the whole season, super consistent, and I'll be very surprised if he doesn't get an England call up this season, man.
Well, we'll see what happens this year. It could be a big year.
Is he in your team of the season, though?
Of course he is. I don't want any beef. You've already thrown a line at me in your song. I don't want any more of those lines, all right, coming at me in the songs, OK? Now, we have to talk about the strength in depth. That's something you do actually cover in the song. But is this squad strong enough to compete on all the fronts that it is? Chasing possible top 4 in the Premier League. You've got the FA Cup as well after yesterday. European football as well. Is this strong? Is this squad strong enough for all of those?
Well, we have strengthened. I don't think Moyes gets enough credit for bringing in the likes of Vlasic, who was also incredible yesterday. But I think we need another striker. Antonio is amazing, but we need cover in that area. And like you say, we're in so many competitions, which feels actually amazing to say. But it's only if everyone stays fit that we can compete. But at the moment, Ogbonna's out for the season, Zuma's out until February, Cressel's out at the moment, and we're kind of nearly down to bare bones. So we need to bring in some players, there's no shadow of a doubt.
Now, you did mention it yourself. We keep on talking about the song right now, but strength in depth, you need that. The big question is Jesse Lingard coming back home? Governor B, announcement video soon. Is it going to happen?
It's getting boring now, isn't it? I feel for the agents. Now I know how hard it is to get a player to come to a club, but I'd love for it to happen. He's been amazing for us, and 6 months left on his contract. It just feels like everything's pointing towards it, but for some reason we can't get it over the line. But you know what? I trust Moyes. I trust that he knows what he's doing. But we just need at least 2 players. That's all I want in January. 2 players to come in and help us out.
Right, thank you, Governor B. I'm sure we'll be talking to you throughout the season as we see what West Ham can do. Tom, Jared Bowen, is he in your team of the season, or is Governor B going to be throwing some lines at you in his next song?
I'll put him in for you, Governor B, all right? Because of all the good work you're doing, Jared Bowen gets into that team. Right, Tottenham fans, we want to hear from you now. Hashtag transfer talk. No signings as of yet for Antonio Conte in his first window in charge. It appears, though, that questions over Tanguy Ndombele's future will not go away, especially after yesterday, which we'll get on to in a moment. But, Jess, we've had an update this morning.
Yeah, interestingly, it seems as though Tottenham have held talks over a departure for Ndombele this month. Italian and Spanish clubs are thought to be involved. Now, this took place before the debacle that happened yesterday with him being subbed off and him looking sulky and frustrated. So it's not in reaction to that. It happened before that. The problem is, because he's got 3.5 years left on his contract, it's thought that a permanent move is quite complex for both the player and the club. And it's not just Ndombele they're thinking about taking formal offers for. It's also Dele Alli and Matt Doherty this month. They could leave the club as well if the deal is right. But we know, and we've spoken about it on Good Morning Transfers before, Tottenham are looking to strengthen priority positions of a right wing-back and a striker as well. But that updated news from this morning is that Tottenham have held departure talks for Ndombele.
What exactly happened yesterday then in the game? Just remind everyone.
Well, I was there and you could definitely hear the Tottenham fans expressing their opinions, voicing their anger. They were losing 1-0. The board goes up. It shows number 28, Tanguy Ndombele, to go off. And what was strange at first was actually there was a cheer from the Tottenham fans, a massive cheer when they realised he was going off. And then he took his time. He drudged across the pitch. They are losing at this point in that game against Morecambe in the FA Cup. He's walking across the pitch very, very slowly, and then he went down the tunnel. Didn't shake hands, didn't do anything, straight down the tunnel, and all of the Tottenham fans were booing him. Now, remember, he is the club's record signing still. Now, Tottenham boss Antonio Conte, he wasn't drawn in to talk about the future of Ndombele after those boos. He said, I was so focused on the game because we were losing 1-0. This type of situation, they are in football. You have to be good to try to change your opinion. If someone is disappointed with you, it's normal. I was a player and it happened sometimes to me that someone was unhappy with my performance. This is our life. I repeat, it's okay. We have to continue to work and try to be better next time. Now, the manager might not have been talking about Ndombele's future. We've had this line this morning come through as well. But let me tell you this, the Tottenham fans, not just on social media, in that stadium, they let everyone around know how they were feeling when he was walking off that pitch. I think that relationship's done between the fans and him.
Exasperated is probably the word. I mean, you were in there yesterday, but just kind of watching from home, also talking to Tottenham fan friends of mine, it's almost like this cycle with him, because he drifts out of the team. He then shows a certain level of commitment to get himself back into the team, and then you come back round to him maybe appearing to be a bit above it all and appearing to not be interested. And that is the view of Tottenham fans. It's a never-ending cycle. At some point, it's got to come to an end, hasn't it? And maybe all of them, all parties, just need to cut their losses and be done with it.
They are keen on bringing someone in at Tottenham, though, aren't they, Emma?
They are. And I don't think it's a name that will surprise many people, because we saw at the end of the summer transfer window that, of course, they wanted to get Adama Traore to the club, but that didn't happen. So they are again showing a strong interest in bringing the Wolves winger to the club in this window. No bid, by the way, at the moment. No direct talks between the clubs as of yet. We do know, of course, that Adama Traore is out of contract at Wolves in June next year, so in 2023. A new deal has been on the table at Wolves for 15 months now. And we do know as well that Wolves, they're keen to keep him at the club. In terms of their sort of situation, they're pretty well stocked in terms of wingers. They've got Pedro Neto coming back. By the way, what a boost that will be for Wolves, because he's an incredible player. They've also got Adama Traore, Daniel Podence and Hwang Hee-chan. So, look, it wouldn't be sort of too surprising if they were to let him go. Of course, they'd want a substantial fee. But when you look at it from Spurs' point of view, we've been told that they see him potentially as a right wing-back. And, of course, this kind of rings a few bells, doesn't it? Because Antonio Conte, when he had Victor Moses in his squad at Chelsea, turned him into a pretty decent right wing-back, I think it's fair to say. I mean, Victor Moses joined Chelsea 2012 and had some kind of mediocre loan spells, Liverpool, Stoke, West Ham. But then when Conte came in ahead of that 2016-17 season, I mean, he kind of reignited Victor Moses' career, really. And, of course, they went on to win the Premier League as well. Played 34 Premier League games in that season. And he was a real key part of that Chelsea squad. So, be interesting if, you know, he could do something similar with Adama Traore and coach him in that way.
Traore is a wing-back.
I seem to think that when Conte was at Chelsea, he went in for Adama Traore, who at the time I think must have been at Middlesbrough, and it was, again, to play at wing-back. So Conte obviously sees something in there. But Jess, did I hear you say earlier you think there's 3 positions that they want? Yeah,
so the 3 positions that they're prioritising is right wing-back, centre midfield and a forward. We've heard, obviously, who they want as right wing-back, and that is one of their priorities this month, because that position is crucial under Conte's system. They also need a centre midfield, a creative player, perhaps more pertinent now if Ndombele isn't performing. And they're also in the market for a striker. I mean, they grabbed Harry Kane, but he's the only out-and-outs at number 9. And yes, he contributes lots to the team, but he's not really performing as well as he can do in the Premier League, especially just 4 goals in the Premier League, less than many of the strikers at other big clubs, the likes of Vardy and Mo Salah.
OK, Jess, thank you. Right, the football
show. They need a striker.
Yeah, they do. The football show is next with Rob Watt and Sue Smith and Stephen Warnock.